Hello, welcome back to another wonderfully fun episode of Let's Talk About It, Conversations with Industry Shapers. Hey, today I have CTz&x, and I know you're going to find this to be a splendidly engaging dialogue with him because we're going to unpack his books, his supplements, his coaching. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a Renaissance man. I just met him, and I know this to be true from my due diligence. So, Chris, welcome to the show, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. We're all about industry shapers. And listen, the stuff you're doing there in Florida with your books and your coaching, I'd love to start with your books if you're okay with that.
Of course, of course. So which book do you want to start with?
I've got one because I just went through it and I wish I would have discovered it before. So I just went through inguinal hernia surgery, maybe 11, 12 months ago. And when I was doing the research for the podcast here, I'm like, what? I never even thought about holistically healing through exercise or supplements. I just followed the doctor said, go get cut, pay the fee. And so let's unpack that.
Okay, so here's the cover of my book. Okay. I got a hernia 14 years ago. I'm going to try to keep the story short. So when I got the hernia, because I was doing ego lifting at the gym, I've been in fitness for over 40 years. I go to the doctor, conventional doctor. What does he say? Probably the same thing your doctor said. Oh, we got to set up surgery. I said, yeah, okay. Now, I'm going to give it some thought first. Yeah. So that's what I did. I left the doctor's office and I said, I don't want surgery, but I'm going to figure out a way to live with my hernia. There's probably no 100% cure for the hernia, because the hole that's perforated, it's not going to close up. But my program that I went on, believe me, I was up all hours at night with researching how to do this. So this is what I came up with. I came up with, in the beginning, I was taking Epsom salt baths for about, I'm going to say 40 days straight, every single day. And the reason for it is because the hernia needs to relax. The hernia is inflamed like any body part. You can get an inflammation on your shoulder, your elbow. It needs to relax itself. So Epsom salt baths with a lot of massaging. Let me see my hands, kept massaging down, pushing it in and massaging it. Now what that does is the muscles around it will start to redevelop. The hole won't close, but the muscles around it will strengthen and develop and suppress, it'll push in the hernia that's bulged out. So my hernia was about maybe a little smaller or the size of a baseball, maybe 3 inches round, like that. If you saw me today, it's maybe the size of a walnut. That's that tiny. And there's times in the morning when I wake up, I don't even know I have a hernia until I start moving around, because then now you're starting to aggravate it. There's no pain. I have no pain, but that's what happens. Also, for the first 30 or 40 days, I wore a hernia truss, a belt.
Yeah.
Do you know about that, Jeff?
I wore that because I didn't want to surrender to surgery right away. I avoided the doctor like most men forever, and that's why I got the belt and the underwear too.
Okay, so you wore the belt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the moment I woke up in the morning, I wore the belt until I was able to go to bed at night. The belt came off, and I had it on super tight.
Yeah.
So what I was doing is I was actually training the hernia. The way you train a dog, the way you train yourself. I trained the hernia to maintain itself. And like I said, you in the morning, you won't even know I have a hernia in the morning.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And by the way, when I exercise, this is 14 years now. I'm 65 years old. I got the hernia when I was around 52. I was doing, like I said, it was ego lifting, bench pressing, like close to 400 pounds. I never should have did that. But yeah, that's me today. I live a normal life. I do everything normal. It never bothers me. Sometimes it inflames. Say if something happened during the day and I got stressed out, I know that it inflamed. So I go back to the basics. I take essential oil, I rub it with essential oils, I push it down again. I got something really good, Jeff.
Yeah.
Look, check this out.
Yeah.
This is all natural magnesium. There's no chemicals in this. This came from the ocean. It's all natural. It's on my website, by the way.
Oh.
It's all natural. So any part, even if you don't have a problem, I would spray that before bedtime. Couple sprays on my back, couple on my shoulders, 2 under my armpit. You sleep like a baby. And what I do with this is I spray this every night on my hernia, on the inguinal area. I spray it. I give it 2 sprays, go to bed in the morning. For about 2-3 hours after I'm moving around, you won't even know I have a hernia because it relaxes every part of your body.
That's fantastic. I love it. I wish like I said before, I acquiesced and did that. I wish I would have done it. So the book, ladies and gentlemen, is Hernia Without Surgery, a natural and holistic self-healing program to treat inguinal hernia. Men, listen up. I'd give it a shot before you go through the surgery. I'd love to pivot now, Chris, and talk about your natural testosterone after 60. I am pushing it. I'm 58. I know I don't look it. I look 30, but that's okay. That's what the women tell me. No,
That's awesome. That's what you're supposed to feel.
But let's talk about that, because you're talking about naturally increasing testosterone.
Yes.
Many men our age, or many men, go for an injection or whatever, and you've
Right.
said no, there's another solution. So
Correct. So here's the cover of my book. That's a picture
Nice.
of me. This was taken about 8 months ago, this picture. That's
awesome.
what I look like. I'm 65 years old. So with the testosterone, I'm going to say when I was 59 years old, when I was 52 to about 59, I was taking PEDs. I was taking testosterone. I was taking steroids. And just to share with you, I went through a midlife crisis. I wanted to just transform and change my life. And that's what I did. So I went on this stuff. Like I said, I was bench pressing crazy. So when you're on testosterone, which I was, your level's like 1,000, 1,200. It can even go up to 1,500. However, once you come off it, now your body will not produce testosterone. So with that said, when I was 59, I said, okay, I'm going to stop all this nonsense, injections. I'm going to stop this stuff with the gym, the way I'm working out. So I got a blood test because I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling like no ambition. That's not me. I'm a go-getter. I've been a go-getter all my life. I go to a doctor and I take a blood exam. Come back. It came back at, I believe it was below 100. I think it was about 80, 81. And that's horrendous, by the way.
Interesting.
Your testosterone level should be no less than 300. So mine was 81. What does that say? You're a prime candidate for testosterone replacement therapy. Now, testosterone replacement therapy, if those of you who don't know, it's for the rest of your life. It's a commitment. You have to take shots once a week, 1 shot. I think it's 1 cc a week. They call it microdosing. It's for the rest of your life. You got to see the doctor twice a month because he always has to check you out.
Yeah.
Every 3 months, you got to dump blood because now your blood's too thick. So now you have to release a pint of blood every 3 months and get some new blood in your system. There are side effects. Side effects could be a heart attack, stroke, your red blood cells, they increase. A lot of different things when you're on TRT. Now, I'm not against TRT. I'm really not. If you really need it, I would recommend that you get on it. What I did in my case, because I don't want to be on TRT, I figured out a way how to increase it on its own. With my program that I went on, 8 months later, after I started my program, I went back to a holistic doctor, took, 100 blood tests, and one of them was testosterone and free testosterone. After the results, she called me back a week later or 2 weeks later, and I went to her office with my wife, and she said, I got good news. I said, yeah, your testosterone level is 680.
Wow.
I said, oh, shoot, really? I was going to do jumping jacks in their office. I looked at my wife. I said, my program worked.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm at 680. And right now I'm about 700, which is high for a 65-year-old man.
Okay.
My level should be between 3 and 500. Then you're good between 3 and 5. If you're below 3, go get yourself checked out. And if you're going to go with my program or read my book, it's very simple. I broke it down so a fifth grader can study it and follow the steps. And I like to give your audience a couple of tips
Yep.
how to raise your testosterone. So one way to raise your testosterone is every morning when I wake up out of bed, the first thing I do, I have a teaspoon of chopped up fresh ginger. I have it with a couple of pieces of pineapple. What fresh ginger does is it increases testosterone by about 26% because it increases blood flow. And when you increase blood flow, that will generate testosterone. Also, I don't eat sugar. This is like a really key thing that without any supplements, this is really key what I'm going to tell you today.
Yeah.
Stay off sugar. And there's reasons for it. Sugar increases insulin. Insulin increases estrogen. Now, both estrogen and insulin, they're key blockers that block testosterone. So here it is, testosterone is trying to generate through your blood and it's blocking it. So now your production of testosterone shuts down. It won't produce because you got too much insulin and too much estrogen. So those are like defenses. You have to get around that defense. Sugar, pasta. I'm not saying you have to eliminate pasta from your life because we all love pasta. I eat pasta. Maybe like once every 10 days. I'll have a bowl of macaroni. But the macaroni I eat is 37% less starch. Now we all know starch will turn into sugar. So the pasta I buy, it's very expensive. It's called Morelli pasta. You can buy it on Amazon. I think a box of 12 packs is like over $100. So that's one thing that I always been doing since my testosterone was low. So here are the tips. Ginger every single morning. A teaspoon is equivalent to 4 ounces. That's all you need. Okay, every day. Another item and this is all functional medicine. This is nothing from a pharmacy. I'm not big on conventional medicine. So it's ginger. Every day I have a glass of water with a tablespoon of olive oil. Olive oil will also increase testosterone by 17%. So I just gave you a couple of tips.
Yeah.
I gave you the blockers, what blocks testosterone. And by the way, cortisol. We all know what cortisol is, Jeff.
Yeah.
Cortisol, it's a hormone, it's a stress hormone. That's another blocker that if you're really stressed out, you're not going to produce testosterone. So you can forget it. Now, getting a good night's sleep is extremely important because while you're sleeping, you're producing 2 things. One is testosterone, and the other is human growth hormone.
It's huge.
So sleep. When I say sleep, you should get at least 8 hours sleep. If you're not sleeping good, you're getting 4 or 5 hours, you're not going to produce human growth hormone, and you're not going to produce testosterone. So there's another tip.
Yeah.
Now, all this is mentioned in my book. Whether they buy my book or not, I'm
Yeah.
here to help. This is why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help people. I've been a leader all my life, Jim. That's all I ever done. I motivate people. I inspire people. I'm successful. I've been in construction all my life. This is a new path for me. Since I wrote these books, I'm here to help others. Okay. I don't know if you mentioned my website, healingwarriors.com. Everything's on my website. So I gave you 4 or 5 tips.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay. There's one major one also that I want to share because I'm eager for people to understand you don't need to take pills, you don't need to take injections. So vitamin D is the number one supplement to increase testosterone.
Hmm.
If you can get into the sunlight at least 10, 15 minutes a day, just walk around. I got a huge dog. I walk him 5 times a day. I live in sunny Florida, so I'm absorbing natural vitamin D, which now increases my testosterone. So if you don't have a lot of sunlight, get on vitamin D3. I would take 2 or 3,000 IUs a day. Take it 5 days a week, 2 days off, just like a regiment, and that'll help you increase testosterone naturally.
That's fantastic and great tips. I love both of those, the hernia, inguinal hernia, and then
Thank you.
the testosterone piece. And then you wrote another book. Let's talk about the third one real quick if you can. And I know that one's more from the heart, right? Belonging to yourself, because we're all
Yeah,
on this journey, right? We're trying to be as real as we can with ourselves because, in our youth, we may have chased things and they were like,
yeah,
all right, how do I give back? So belonging to yourself. Talk with
yeah.
us about that.
Here's the cover of the book.
Yeah.
That's a memoir about my life.
Awesome.
I come from a broken family, single mother, raising 4 kids. And throughout my childhood, I come from a tough neighborhood in New York City. It was rough. You had to stand your grounds. I nearly became a baseball player. I was really good in baseball. It's my fault, is the reason why I didn't become a baseball player. It's no one else's fault. I won't blame my dad or my mom. It was me. So throughout my life, I got into construction at an early age. I think I was like 20 years old. I started as a carpenter. I became a boss by the time of 25 for one company. I worked for that company for 18 years. So I was a mentor. I was a leader. I led people. I helped people when they had problems, not only giving them a job. Every time they had an issue, they come to me with an issue. I always have a positive mindset. So throughout my life, and the reason why the book is called Belonging to Yourself is because I always wanted to have a family my whole life because I came from a broken family. So with that said, everything I did, it was like family to me. But I always put people before me. Not today. Today I put me first before anybody else. So I wrote the book. There's a lot of adversities in there. I lost my sister. My best friend was murdered. I told you I come from a tough neighborhood. He got murdered. I talk about how to get around it, how I felt. I did act out when my sister passed away. I acted out, which got me in trouble. I talk about everything. I'm transparent. It's in the book. Certain guys that I met in New York, maybe I shouldn't have been around them. I talk about that too. And I'm here today. I'm happy. I got a nice wife. And I'm here to pass on the message, the wisdom.
That's fantastic. It's your give back phase, right? We all get to that point where it has to be a willing heart, and so that someone's ready to receive it. But when they are, it's fertile ground to transfer your knowledge on, right? That's what I love too. I've written 10 books. They're all on different things, but I find it quite cathartic and relaxing as I thought, but as I'm being more real with myself, like you're talking about, I'm like, what are you doing? I was avoiding pouring into my family, into my relationship, right? Because I was literally thinking, I'll just make more money and success, and so I'll be loved. And no, you really have to love before you can be loved, right? You got to give back to them, not just providing things. And so it's been a great journey for me too. But I still like writing, but and I'm working on another one now. But it's
good for you, bro.
in that timing that is not writing it to have it be another #1 or sell or another speaking engagement. It's because I want to write it. And it's not to distract from my home or my children or my wife. That's a journey that I'm on right now because it's, for so long I just thought that if I just am super successful, because men measure success by money, and it's not, but that's what we do, right? What you have. And so I'm like, I keep buying companies and writing best-selling books and buying sports teams. I'm doing great. But it wasn't what my children needed or my wife needed. So it's eating a lot of humble pie. So I'm going to get your book and read that. It's on Amazon. Definitely going to get Belonging to Yourself. I want to walk alongside you on that journey there.
I appreciate it, Jeff.
Oh, absolutely. Chris, if we could have you give our listeners, you spoke a little bit about your childhood, but that hard-won wisdom lesson that shapes you today, right? That impacts your decisions today. What would you say to our listeners?
I would say be true to yourself. Know who you are. Stand your grounds. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, because you can. If you think things are impossible, no, they're very possible. So be true to yourself, set your goals. Okay, if you're an older person, remember, growing old is a choice. If you want to sit on the couch and watch movies all night and eat potato chips and soda, that's going to take you down another path in life. Okay, just be true to yourself, self-love, and then love everyone else around you.
That's fantastic. Belonging to yourself, self-love, and be true to yourself. Wise words from Chris. Again, his website is healingwarriors.com. Hey, and I told you guys at the top of this was going to be a splendidly engaging dialogue. And if you're like me, you crave another 30 minutes to an hour of this, but we have to cut it short. Again, it's healingwarriors.com. All three of his books sound engaging. I would start with belonging to yourself like I'm going to. So, Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and thank you everyone for listening. Thank you.